Yo, what up, what up, what up? Thursday. Multiplying mixed numbers. Hopefully fractions, multiplying fractions will go pretty well. It's the easiest of all operations to do on fractions. Today we're going to be doing mixed numbers. And mixed numbers, just a little bit more complicated because you can't multiply mixed numbers together. You have to turn them to improper fractions. So we're going to first go over how to do that, and then we'll get into multiplying a few, and then I'll let you guys get to your assignment for the day. So first, let's start with this. A mixed number is a number that has a whole number and a fraction in it, right? For example, 2/3 is just a fraction, just a regular fraction. Okay? But 4 and 2/3, meaning you have 4 of something and then 2/3 of some, the rest of it, then you have what's called a mixed number here, right? A whole number and a fraction. I'm trying to make this so blurry. Okay, all right. Anyway, so here's your mixed number. So what we need to do is be able to multiply mixed numbers together, but you can't multiply them the way they're written like this. You can't do it. So you have to turn them into an improper fraction. And here's a cool way to do it. You guys might have seen this before. I know you've seen it before. But there's a trick to taking the denominator, multiplying it by the whole number, and then adding those leftover pieces that are the numerator, right? So if we have 4 wholes, how many thirds would make 4 wholes? That would be 12, right? 3 times 4 is 12. But then you have 2 extra thirds left over, so you add 12 plus 2 to get 14. So we're basically turning this into an improper fraction, which is usually not a good thing, but in this case it is. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 more is 14. So we have 14 total thirds. 4 and 2/3 is 14 thirds, right? And if I could show you guys really quickly to help you understand why this is, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is 4 and 2/3, right? This is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 wholes, and then 2 out of 3. So there's 4 and 2/3. But this also could be called, check this out, like I just said, 14 thirds. This is a third right here, right? This is 1/3. Well, so is this. This is all 1/3. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 thirds. So now you can see that 4 and 2/3 and 14 thirds are the same thing, just written a different way. But now that we have it as an improper fraction, the whole purpose is to get it there so now we can multiply, because multiplying fractions is nice, so all you have to do is multiply across the top and across the bottom. So let's take a look at an example where we would have to do this. Let's say we're multiplying, let's use 4 and 2/3 again. And we're going to multiply that by, let's say, 1/5. So 4 and 2/3 times 1/5. Now we can't multiply these together the way they're written. Like I just said, you have to turn this into an improper fraction. Luckily, we already did the work for that and found out that that was 14 thirds. So I'm just going to change it to 14 thirds. So these are the same problem, written a different way. But now we can actually do the multiplication, right? Like normal, right? 14 times 1 across the top is 14. And 3 times 5 across the bottom is 15. So you end up with an answer of 14/15, which can't be simplified because they don't have any common factors. So your answer is just 14/15. So as you can see, multiplying mixed numbers is the exact same way we multiply fractions, except there's one step in the beginning where you got to take a mixed number and turn it into an improper fraction. Okay? So let's try another one. Let's do 2 3/5 times 3 and 1. Let's try this one out. Okay? So immediately you see we're multiplying mixed numbers. So the first thing in your head should be, let's make these improper fractions so I can actually do the multiplication. So that little trick I showed you, if you'll remember, multiply the denominator times the whole number. So in this case, 5 times 2 is 10. plus any extra pieces from the numerator. Right, so that's 10 plus 3 is 13. That goes on top. And we keep the denominator the same because we're talking about fifths, right? 2 and 3 fifths. We're literally talking about fifths, so we have 13 fifths. Those are the same thing, but in a different way. Next, 3 and 1/4. Same thing. We're going to turn it into an improper fraction. Multiply here, add there. This 12 plus 1 is 13. And this one is fourths we're talking about here. So we've got 13 fifths and 13 fourths. That's actually what we're multiplying. So then you have to go through and multiply 13 times 13 across the top, 169. And 5 times 4 across the bottom is 20. Now, just like any of the problems we've been doing so far, this needs to be simplified, right? This is an improper fraction. Now, I know that we took the time to turn these from mixed numbers to improper fractions. And so it's like, okay, we have an improper fraction, but it has to be turned back into a mixed number so we can give our final answer, which is more simplified. And the way to do this would be, since this is an improper fraction, just divide it. 169 divided by 20. I'll go ahead and do that on this sheet of paper here. 169 divided by 20. And then we see how many times 20 goes into 1. It doesn't. 16 doesn't. Into 169, it does 5, 6, 7, 8 times. For 160. 9 left over. And this is kind of nice with fractions because we don't have to keep dividing. We're good here. We have a remainder of 9. So we put that as our numerator. And then our 20 as our denominator. We're talking about 20s, 8 and 9 20ths. That's in simplest form because it can't be, there is no common factor other than 1 between 9 and 20. So we are stuck there at 8 and 9 20ths for your answer. That is how you guys multiply mixed numbers. So I'm going to stop it there. If you guys have questions about doing this, please rewatch this video. And if not, let's go ahead and get started on an assignment. If you have questions, you know I'm here. Let's get it going.